Hails and well met, and welcome to my Dankest Dungeon. I'm your host, Mally Nim, and today within these dank walls I bring you a series I like to call Dankest Dialogue. A show where I interview ttrpg actual play creators to nerd out about their campaigns and more. Today in my dungeon I am joined by HESPER'S Quest. Hail, Hesper. Welcome to my Dankest Dungeon. Please introduce yourself.
It's so dank. I mean, of the dankest dungeons I've been in. Hi, heroes. My name is Hesper Lightwing. You can call me by my true name, which is, of course, Hesper, Lamina, Lightwing, Lucidius, Temporary, Alexandria, Mimi, Vivian, Moet, Choco, Choco, Hydra Puncher, everything better than expected. First try, perfect time, and 10 minutes later, Choco, Cloth, just whenever do we kill Lilyhoof. Or you can just call me Hesper. That's fine, too. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for accepting. It's such an honor, and sorry I won't be able to remember that, so we'll just stick with Hesper.
That's fair. Listen, everybody needs a companion fairy they can call sometimes.
Well, I would be happy to call you my companion fairy.
Oh, I am. I am your companion fairy. I say it all the time. You didn't know I was talking directly to you every time?
Oh, my gob.
You know, because there's like Koopa Troopas and Paratroopas, you know, there's socials and, you know, by extension, parasocials.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I'm very funny all the time.
I love it.
So what do you do in this dank dungeon here?
Well, within these dank walls, tales are told, stories are woven, and ttrpg talks are had.
Oh my god, I'm so unprepared for ttrpg talks. I thought this was a cooking show.
Oh, well, Hesper, let's cook.
Damn, that was smooth. Let's go.
All right, well, I got you here. You're trapped. You're my guest here, so let's start off with the first question. How did you get into ttrpgs yourself, and how did you become a dungeon master?
We're gonna gloss over the trapped thing for now. I got into ttrpgs when I was a very, very little baby. I was not going to talk about my relationship with my parents or anything, but I will say I was exposed to fantasy content at a really early age. I had some Dragonlance books that my sister had hand-me-downed to me. My first line was a line about Kitiara's crooked smile in Dragonlance, and it stuck with me. And so I was at a flea market with my mother, finding things to illicitly resell. And one of the things was the D&D Red Box, the OG, not like the first D&D release, obviously, but the Red Box, which is a famous kind of starter set. And it had some dice in it and some basic character sheets and stuff, and it had a cool dragon on the cover, as I recall. And I remember thinking, oh, this is cool. I was 11, so I didn't know what I had. I did not understand the tome I had procured and the power it could unleash, and so I played D&D very badly. I taught myself to play. I taught all of my dumb little 11-year-old friends to play, and we did it wrong for many years, and I never stopped.
Hey, that's the only way to do it right, is to do it wrong. Nice.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think this is advice I give to a lot of people who are like, I want to start playing D&D, but I just don't know how. And I'm like, good, you shouldn't. You have to not know how in order to know how eventually.
Oh yeah, I tell everyone that DMing is gaining XP. Every time you run a game, you gain XP.
That is so smart, and what a good metaphor that I have somehow never thought of.
Oh, cool. Nice. And the funny part is, you get more XP when you fail. So when you have a bad session, that's when you get the most XP.
Oh yeah. I've had some real stinkers out there. There was one time I was like really into Mario, and I wrote this like Super Mario based custom TTRPG that we don't have to talk about our worst sessions, right?
No, we don't have to get into that. But you can DM me that later. I want to know the story. Nah.
Yeah, okay, I guess I owe it to you. Will you let me out of the dungeon if I sell you?
No promises. So, on to the next question.
Yeah, I love your authority. I love a goblin with authority.
Oh, thank you. So, you got into TTRPGs, ran them a little wrong for a little while, had the red box. That's how I started as well.
No way, a fellow red boxer.
Yeah, in the same situation, except for I didn't start actually playing it. I started reading it and it was like, oh, this is cool. I don't understand it. Well, let's put it away for now.
That's very valid, too. It is an eldritch tome filled with horrors.
But eventually got around to it and never looked back.
Yeah, like lacking the context that because people in that era when it came out had the context of like, Napoleonic war games or like chainmail, they had the hobby shop culture because that's where you got it. So you already sort of knew what you were looking at, but not us, little baby goblin, little baby fairy out there. We had no clue.
Exactly. And I didn't really grasp it until I started watching actual plays. Segue.
Oh. Good segue. Oh, that's smooth.
I try. Yeah, segue. So actual plays. You started with playing actual plays and then you started your own. Tell me about that.
That's right. That's very accurate. You did your research. So there was a person I used to make content with by the name of Lorai, and Lorai doesn't make live content anymore. She moved on to some other stuff. But I was invited to play some like holiday actual plays over on Lorai's channel. It's Chaotic Lawful Inc. And I got to play a dumb little kobold by the name of Melody Brightscale, and she is still one of my emotes on my channel. But then I came over to my friend Oceanax, that's Umi, twitch.tv/Oceanax. A little shout to my girl there. She and I were talking D&D one day during just a hangout collab, and she was like, I want to play sometime. And I was like, yeah, I'll run for you sometime. She said, do it right now. And I said, all right, bet. And that's how Expasne Enduring started. I was like, all right, here's the game. Let's do it. Let's make characters. Let's go. And we hit the ground running, and we just never stopped. We took that momentum and we spun it into a one-shot, which I look directly at the camera as I say this. A one-shot, guaranteeing a game is going to be a one-shot, is the best way to ensure that it is going to go for months and months and months.
Oh yeah, that's how you hook them.
Well, now we play on Sundays. Expasne Enduring over on twitch.tv/Oceanax, although we're doing it on my channel right now because we're on a weird little side arc.
Well, tell me more about Expasne Enduring, like the concept, the inception, the ideas, the inspiration.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I have it's my baby, a little homebrew setting, because every GM has one. Every forever GM has the little world we live in our heads, and mine is called Skyhold. And so the world of Skyhold was a dark fantasy setting. There was a world long ago called Vasafin, and it was a dark fantasy setting I had written after playing through a bunch of Dragon Age games with swine flu, and my head got tangled around the dark fantasy themes, and it addresses some fairly mature topics. Dragon Age has things like slavery and racism and like lots of very mature themes, and I thought, well, I'm a white person, I can tell these stories. So I don't know if that's a funny enough joke or not, but
No,
fine. Anyway, so I wrote this whole dark fantasy setting, and then I got really frustrated with it and bored of it because I'm not very good at writing dark fantasy. So I put a dragon in the heart of the world and blew up the planet. The dragon Avaram, the great ancient god worm, parent of the entire pantheon, awoke, cracking the planet like an egg, breaking it into pieces and sending them spiraling out through space. And now this planet of dark fantasy and horrors has been literally forced to look inward and do a little bit of self-reflection as the pieces that were once the face of the planet now orbit facing inward the star that they are around. And this is the largest of the pieces of the planet, protected by the barriers, is called Skyhold. And Skyhold is where the game of Expasne Enduring is set. Although we do talk about the other barrier kingdoms from time to time, Skyhold is kind of where it's at.
That's very cool. I love that concept. I love the world, too. It kind of reminds me a little bit of something that I created with my last actual play, A Broken World, where the heroes are, isekai to save it, but I digress. I love that.
We love an isekai story in this house. Looks directly at camera, don't we, chat?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Skyhold was kind of inspired. Originally, it was going to be like Saturday morning cartoons, the Pirates of Darkwater, and things like that. But it's sort of grown beyond that, I think.
Yes. Oh, damn.
Oh, sorry. Does your back hurt at the mention of one of my favorite cartoons?
No. Well, yeah. The age is showing, but no, that was kind of my inspiration. Anime, JRPG, and Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, anime JRPG, have I got a story for you. When we get to the question about other TTRPG systems, which I don't remember if it was a question that you were going to ask or not, I've got some stuff to talk about.
Well, it is gonna be now.
Ah!
But first, let's move on to your next actual play that you're a player in on a system that is recently being released in the US. Tell us about
What an excellent segue! What a great segue. So let me tell you about Sword World. So there is a system, and forgive me if I get any of the history wrong, I'm still kind of a newcomer to this. There is a system in Japan from 1989. It was released in 1989 after Record of Lodoss War, the anime. Let's start at the beginning, start of the story at the beginning. So Record of Lodoss War was an anime based on a bunch of manga authors who played D&D together. The world was inspired loosely by Dragonlance, and they played D&D. And they wrote it down, literally wrote a record of their game, the Record of Lodoss War, and then they published it, turned it into an anime. And it was very successful. It was cool. Gaparn and Deedlit, and everybody knows Deedlit. She's the blonde elf with the sword. Everybody's seen her. And so what happened is... something Record of Lodoss War's company reached out to TSR, or TSR reached out to them, and they couldn't come to terms on making a Record of Lodoss War setting book. What ended up happening is they ended up making Sword World, which is the official Record of Lodoss War tabletop RPG in 1989. This is a moment of discovery for me, and I want to put this on the table as a fan of JRPGs, as a fan of fantasy anime in general, things like Record of Lodoss War, or Slayers, or Bastard, or whatever, and more modern things like Frieren, for example. If you've ever seen anime or a video game that's like, oh, that's kind of like D&D, but I guess it's a little different, they changed the D&D a little bit. The secret is that it's never been D&D. It's always been Sword World. Sword World came out in 1989 in Japan, and it took such popularity it is still Japan's #1 fantasy tabletop RPG. And it hedges out Dungeons & Dragons every time Wizards of the Coast tries to release it over there. Everybody's playing Sword World. And so there is an incredible fan translation project. Please support the official release of the Sword World core books into English. And now the company that runs it is giving us an official English release. There's a crowdfunding campaign starting in 2026, and I could not be more excited because it's everything. It's everything I wanted. It's a system that embraces the kind of simple, straightforward gameplay of like JRPG combat, but has incredible character building depth where you combine multiple classes to create the vibe of the specific character you want. It has anime-style special abilities and sword schools, but it's also got the crunch and the loot and the crafting and the numbers of like a classic D&D game. It really hits all of the sweet spots I want a game to hit, and also there's tabbits.
That reminds me a lot of, I'm sure they probably drew inspiration from this, but the last individual I interviewed, their main game was Fabula Ultima.
It's funny. Fabula Ultima is such an interesting system too. I love the agency it gives players. I love how kind of open-ended it is. Fabula Ultima was an effort, I believe, to sort of reverse engineer the JRPG and like fantasy anime vibes to kind of find the root of them, which is what I did with my stream lore, and I accidentally recreated Sword World, so I guess maybe they did too.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's been a learning experience for sure, but it's really simple to pick up, like pitifully simple to pick up, and I'm so frustrated I didn't know about it before now. But so, you asked me about the game that we're playing, the little side story from Expasne Enduring. So that is my friend $1.50 Slice, Dolly, one of the players in Expasne Enduring. She plays Reverie. offered to run a little bit to help me prevent GM burnout, and she's running a Sword World game for us called The Wishing Well, and it's been really fun.
Oh, that's very cool. You get to be a player. You're enjoying playing Sword World then?
The Forever GM gets to play in her own world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I am overjoyed. Mel, I am overjoyed. Dolly agreed to pick up the notes of my world, it's the other half of the Skyhold setting that we don't include in Expasne Enduring usually. It's Enum, which is where I stream from. And I'm getting to play in my own world. I play a Tabbit. Mal, I get to play a Tabbit. Do you know about Tabbits?
No, please enlighten me.
Oh, a Tabbit is the best part of Sword World. They're cute little bunny people, and they come in different varieties, but you could be a bunny. D&D has the Here and Gone, which is a funny pun, because it's like here and gone, you know, because of Feywild things. Tabbits! Tabbits is better. Tabbits is best. And I get to be one.
Nice.
I actually have some art. I don't. I can drop our cool character art in the chat here if you like.
Yeah, definitely. We will show off the cool art during the show and tell portion. Look forward to that.
Yeah. I'm very looking forward to the show and tell portion.
Awesome. And yeah, you dropping the anime names. I have watched Record of Lodoss War, Slayers. Love that. Have you heard of one of the spin-offs from Record of Lodoss War called Rune Soldier?
You know, I learned about it through Sword World, actually. In the community Discord for the fan translation, people were talking about it. I was like, oh, what's this? Because it is referenced in some of the books or some of the publications for Sword World.
Oh, that's awesome. I still have my DVD copy of that anime.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so retro.
Hell yeah, that one is very funny. Has some really comedic moments in it.
You love to see it, genuinely.
Well, what were you about to talk about?
I already don't remember. I mean, truthfully, and I don't know if this is worth talking about on the interview or not, but truthfully, I am a disabled content creator. And so sometimes my nervous system and my immune system decide that I don't get to have a brain for a couple of days. And today is one of those foggy days. So my memory's a little shot, and I apologize if I miss anything.
No apology necessary. I thank you for taking the time to get lost in my dungeon. I mean, to sit with me on the interview.
Yeah, I heard like screaming and rattling chains. Is that like normal, or is that a thing you need to like check out?
Oh, no. That's just people having fun.
Oh, it sounds like they were screaming like real loud. They must be having like a lot of fun.
So much fun. You wouldn't believe.
Oh, man. How exciting. How exciting. What a fun dungeon. This is the fungeon.
I try. So you got to play Sword World, and you've been running. Actually, what system is Expasne Enduring?
So Expasne Enduring is historically, and I don't know if we're going to be moving forward with this or not. I don't know how big my community is going to be on continuing to run in a Wizards of the Coast system. But we've been playing D&D 5th edition. We've been playing the 2024 rule set. So we kind of kicked this game off right about when that was just kind of hitting the road. So it's been fun. It's been an interesting learning experience trying to figure out the 2024 rules as somebody who eats, sleeps, and breathes 5th edition D&D for a very large period of my life. 2024 is a little cognitive dissonance. But mostly we're using SRD stuff and a lot of homebrew.
Hey, you got to sometimes.
Yeah, we have a warlock of the concept of love, which is a personified concept in the game world. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff.
Oh, nice. All right, so you've been playing 2024, or running 2024, playing Sword World. You want to talk about any more systems that you enjoy?
Oh my god. Where do you even start? When you started playing TTRPGs like you and I did, like, obviously there's a billion of them. Quick shout out, though, to 7th Sea. 7th Sea is one that not enough people in the modern era know about. 7th Sea, do you know 7th Sea at all?
I do know it, but I have not had the opportunity to play it.
Oh, it's a blast, Mel. It's so good. 7th Sea is a system designed around recreating the exciting, like, narrative sword fights of, like, swashbuckling movies and fiction. And so the vibes of, being a high seas hero, a master fencer or duelist, or, and there's a bunch of different styles, but it has this system called sword schools. And that's kind of the focus of it, is you're generally assumed to be like a weapon wielder of some kind in that system. And the way they capture the dynamic of dueling with unique styles and how your style pairs up against someone else's style. Do you know the Princess Bride, the movie? I would be surprised if you didn't.
Oh, of course, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a wonderful film. The scene where Inigo Montoya and Wesley fight, the Man in Black, is spoilers, I guess, where they fight. And Inigo Montoya and Wesley are having a discussion about different fencing styles. Unless your enemy has studied his Agrippa, which I have. That's 7th Sea in a nutshell. That's one of my favorite TTRPG systems, and it's totally worth checking out. I'm told it's getting like a reprint or something. You have to fact check me on that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that is one of the greatest scenes in cinema.
Oh, it's extraordinary. The characters are just so strong.
I love it. Well, that is a great scene in the movie, but what about your favorite moments from your campaigns? The one you've ran or the ones you played in? Some of your favorite moments.
Whoa, that's a good question. Favorite moments from the campaigns I've been in. So, I guess I gotta bring up Expasne Enduring again, because I've had, let me ask, what are your policy on profanity on your podcast, on your interview?
Oh, curse away.
Okay, cool. There's a very famous moment, and a quick shout out to my wife, Love Me Deadly, who at one point, them and I were playing a D&D game I was running, and they had identified, correctly I might add, to my chagrin, one of my NPCs as a potential assassin for a noble that they were trying to protect. And so they were at a party, and they identified the NPC, and said, I think that's an assassin. And I said, why do you think that? And they said, I just got a hunch. And they were right, but I did not think I had signaled this. And they were like, I'm going to go tackle them. I was like, they are across a crowded ballroom filled with nobles and a bunch of serving staff. You will probably hurt people if you try this. And their response to me was to look me dead in the eyes and say, choo choo, motherfucker, I'm in full plate. Oh. And that was how my plot got derailed. That was a very fun time.
Oh, that's too funny. Just imagine if it wasn't an assassin.
I really could have because I felt it would have been dishonest to just at that point to shift gears and say, actually, you were wrong, and it was just an halfling. I mean, they were right, so.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome that they were right, but yeah, that would have been funny too if they were wrong.
Yeah. But I do want to shout out Expasne Enduring, because this crew has given me so much gold. My players in this game are magical, and I'm sure you can relate to this. Speaking as a GM who does live content, or even pre-recorded, like actual play content, your game is only as good as the players in it, and this crew has given me gold game and game again. There was a moment where I'll bring up Dolly. Dolly plays a character named Reverie, who is a farm girl who awakened with sorceress potential. She is a lightning sorcerer mingled with barbarian, and it only really works with homebrew. It only really comes online at like 12th level. It's like a very, very fringe, niche-y build, but she really wanted to play it, so she made this character. She's a cat girl. She's a tabaxi, or a prowler in the setting. So she, at one point, session 9, we're in session 9, like of our weekly actual play. It's like we've had a small climax from the intro module, and we're kind of in a lull. She calls out to because again, this is a broken world. She calls out to a spirit who had been removed from the kind of canon, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who wants it, watches it, but she called out to a spirit that had been kind of removed from canon one way or another, and leapt off the edge of the world. And the GM was like, well, okay, you jumped into space. What do I do with that? But she's a troublemaker player. So session 10, I got all of the other players together in a private channel. And I said, hey, we're going to do a backstory game for Reverie. Dolly doesn't know we're going to do this. She is going to wake up in her own backstory with full knowledge of present events, but like in her childhood body. And I want all of you to play characters from her backstory. And we're going to introduce you one at a time. And so that's what we did. But I named the session Reverie, her character's name. And I remember the moment when Dolly looked at the session title at the top of the game and just started yelling, why is it called Reverie? We'll have to watch it to find out. It's session 10. It's one of my favorite sessions I've ever run of any TTRPG.
That's so fun. That's a cool idea. I love it.
It went really well. Scottzilla, who is a British man, pulled off an incredible, like, down-homey, like, country accent to try to match the way Dolly plays Reverie with this sort of southern twang. It's amazing. It's really something.
Nice. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a blast. We have the VODs up if anybody's interested in picking up that series. Although, if you want to see my masterstroke as a GM, it's session 10 of Expanse Enduring, Reverie.
Yeah, check it out. Links in the description below.
Wow, look at those cool links down there.
Click on them. What could happen?
What could possibly happen? Click on things that you don't know. Good advice for anybody on the internet. Just click everything. Right. You're bound to click something good.
Eventually, right?
Please don't click everything.
No, don't. I'll have to put a disclaimer. But seriously, that is cool, and I have some thoughts of doing something similar to that, though. Don't want to say any more, but yeah, that's fun. Yeah,
no spoilers for your players, obviously.
Hell yeah.
I will say, when it comes to this, and I try to be a very sensitive GM, as a queer content creator, as a trans woman with like a very gay table, my friends got trauma. A lot of my friends got trauma, so when we're doing something that's very emotional and heavy like that, it's very important to mind your content warnings and make sure that you have consent checklists filled out and make sure you know what everybody's limits are before you embark on some psychological manipulation, gaslighting bullshit like I did.
100%.
I love this stuff. Thank you so much for having me on and letting me talk about my own stuff.
Hell, of course. That's why I started this little thing as a outlet for DMs to just nerd out.
It's so cool. It's one of my favorite things. I think a lot about like professional GMs and like celebrity GMs. Like I'm a fan of Dropout, Dimension 20, Brendan Lee Mulligan, Abria Iyengar, good old Mark Mercer winks at camera. And I think a lot about them, and I love watching them nerd out, just picking up their bits of wisdom about like tricks about how to run things or discussing like the reason they did something. It's one of my favorite things.
So I know when running games, sometimes things don't go always how you planned or I know. And maybe you feel like, dang it, I should have done something differently when, retrospection. But what about you for running Expanse Enduring? Or any other game you've ran? Do you have any regrets or would you have done anything differently?
As a game master who's never made a mistake in her life, no, not really. But I will say, just to humor the other people in the room is like a learning experience. Let's pretend I had. I'm sorry, I almost didn't get through that. So Expanse Enduring is a mess. This is a thing. This is my warning for anybody who's coming at it. It was an experiment. It was an experimental content. It was my first time running live content with regards to tabletop RPGs in general. So the pacing is kind of weird. It was intended as a one-shot, so that's kind of weird. I had a grand story I wanted to tell. And I got a little in my head about it. I got a little in my head about being a good, responsive, reactive GM. And truly, I did not know the play styles of all of my players. I had played with Ryusei and Prin before. I had never played with Dolly or Squat or Oshio before. And so I didn't really know what kind of players they were, and I didn't really know what they wanted. I think I probably would have, in a perfect world, done a couple of test sessions with them first to kind of like feel out the group. But it was experimental content, you know? It was meant to be just like, let's goof around and play some TTRPGs, and it wasn't meant to be like a huge production. Definitely would have paced some things differently in the storyline.
Definitely relate to that. I did get like 2 sessions in before I started streaming, but the first streamed session I was dropping F-bombs left and right because I was so nervous. Soup, just going. And then I was running a system called Shadow of the Demon Lord, and it's like it's like a darker setting, so I was trying to go full into the darkness, and I even had to, well, I didn't have to, but I labeled the first episode, mature, because I tried to go into that, and then after reflection, I went back and tried to chop and edit all the F-bombs and stuff, and the fouler things I should have left out. But after that, I started slowly getting into my groove. But yeah, that first session was
Allow me to imagine this. I'll try to recreate this. In the darkness beyond the the place where worlds collide, there exists a spirit where you can trying so hard to be dramatic and just like not handling your own shit. That was Expasne Enduring like up until session 3.
But hey, we got XP, didn't we?
We got XP, didn't we?
Hell yeah.
We sure did. I've leveled up as a GM a couple of times over the course of this. Live play puts real pressure on to know what the hell you're doing.
100%. I mean, I've been running games for like over 10 years, but these past 3 years actually making content, that's when I got the bulk of my XP. Like, I grinded.
Yeah, you're grinding in the challenge zone. Is what you're doing. That's red light content. That's like you gotta use your consumables to get through this one.
Hell yeah.
But that's the thing, right? Because we're not doing it alone. We've got our incredible casts, our incredible crews, our friends, everybody who helps, everybody who produces stuff for our game. We got fan work for Expasne Enduring. I can't get over it. It's mental to me.
So cool. Hell yeah. That's a good segue. Let's start showing off some of this cool stuff from your campaigns.
Yeah. I've got a ton of stuff I can load in here.
Well, let's show some of this stuff off, Hesper. Talk about this first image here.
All right. Okay, so this is a meme from one particular session. You know how every GM has a character that they intended to be like a throwaway? They invented a character to fill a specific need, to deliver some important plot critical piece of, I don't know, narrative architecture, and then the audience latched onto them. This is a character by the name of Demeni. Demeni lives beneath, and has lived beneath for hundreds of years, the player's base of operations that they inherited. Demeni is a beastmaster. And so they encountered in this like toxin-filled hall, and you can see Key, Scottzilla's character, the little robot kobold in the background there. They encountered Demeni in this little toxin-filled hall and filled with strange, shadowy monsters spinning spider-like webs onto the walls. And they had caked up so thick, and this character was so sluggish from not having communicated with another living creature for like 500 years that they spoke in a very strange way. So what happened here was Demeni was talking about, those are my spinners. And then Key says, what do spinners do? And they give him a little smirk and look down, and then ever so slowly do this perfect little pirouette in answer. And everybody loved this character so much. And so Demeni is kind of the adoptable NPC of Expanse Enduring.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're a ton of fun to play.
It's so fun when that happens too. When you introduce a character, you have no plans to keep them around, and then either the audience or the players latch on and, well, gotta bring them back.
Yeah, this is me pointedly not mentioning Horsea, who was, of course, a horse.
Let's move on to the next image and tell us about...
So this is Esinia. This is the reborn form of one of the player characters. This is Oceanax's character, Esinia, who has gone through the expanse itself, the realm of gods, the place beyond physical reality, where all divine essence dwells in the setting. And she has been reborn at this point in a body of her own creation and her own choosing, the truest expression of self. And you can see, slightly off camera, Knuckles the Echidna's hat, which Reverie borrows for her character design.
Adorable. Love the art, too.
This is by Oceanax, whose channel we run the game on normally.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, she's a extraordinary artist. I think the next one is probably by her, too.
Well, let's talk about the next one.
This is Aselnir, the original form of that character. There was a little bit of trans narrative in this character. Umi came to me with a character who was previously a hapless explorer in some ancient ruins who came across an imprisoned demon princess. And through happenstance and a little bit of accidental death, was drawn into that person's imprisoned, kind of mindless body and merged with the remnants of who used to be a very powerful person in the world's lore. And so I got to explore for a long time this kind of dynamic, and I don't want to spoil anything, but we got to explore for a long time this kind of dynamic of this ethereal, demonic being of dubious morality sharing a headspace with one of my player characters. It's a cool warlock concept.
Oh, that's fun. Hell yeah. I love that.
Yeah, Essie was really cool. There's a cool resolution to this narrative.
Very attractive model as well.
Oh my god, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, Umi is cracked at art. I think we described her as a otherworldly beauty imprisoned between pillars.
Wait, is that deeper in my dungeon? Is that the noises you were hearing? No. Wait, so next up...
Yeah, no, this turned into like a whole party, so... there he is! There's our boy, Neros, the stalwart shield. This fella's a prowler, he's a catman. This is the stalwart shield of Green Meadow, Neros! This is Ryusei Shining Art's character in our Sword World game. Art by Printers, who is one of our other players. Prin has this incredible art style, and she was kind enough to draw us these little sort of retro RPG like battler sprites. In Sword World, the combat is kind of designed to flow like a JRPG, and so we got these little JRPG battlers to show our characters' positions on the grid, and this is Ryusei's character.
Yeah, I love the art style. Let's see the next character.
There's Rena. That is Prin's character. She's a druid, an artificer, and a marksman. Mentioning the Sword World stacking classes system, she's kind of created this sort of nature gun vibe. She has a little character, a little assistant named Popo, who goes Popo, Popo, who we don't have art for here, but the system is just so cool. It lets you stack up some really weird stuff.
Awesome, adorable. I run a system that lets you stack classes as well like that. I'll have to talk about that with you sometime. Next up is...
Oh, it's Strebla, the Striking Blaze! This is Scottzilla's character in our Sword World one-shot that was run by Dolly. Strebla is what is called a grappler and also an enhancer. And so he has abilities that involve melee combat using his hands and feet. He's got those little metal plates he hits people with. He speaks with kind of a vaguely Soviet accent, and he punch Goblin a lot sometime, but sometime he don't punch Goblin, and he punch too high and does not hit Goblin. If you encounter Strebla, just don't jump up to fist level and you'll be fine.
No, don't punch Goblin, please.
He never quite figured out punching goblins, so I think you're good.
Okay, good. And finally, I believe your character.
My sweet baby, Wayla. Wayla is my Tabbit. Mal, did I tell you about Tabbits? She's a Tabbit. She's a tactician and a sage and a conjurer, because Tabbits can't be priests, because Tabbits are too short for God to see our sins. So Tabbits cannot be priests, so I made her a conjurer because I wanted her to be a little healer. And she's very small and speaks with a stutter, unless she's casting a spell. But she speaks with authority and purpose.
That's so adorable.
I love playing her so much. It is such a... Again, like, Mal, I'm sure you know about this, but the vibe of being a forever GM, of being a GM, building worlds for hours and hours and hours, for years, months, years, decades, I don't know, however long your world has been alive, the thought of getting to explore your own world from the body of a person in it is just... It's something a lot of people don't get to experience, and thanks to Dolly, I get to, and she's my window into my world.
Beautiful. Love it. We have a few more pieces here. Tell us about this next one.
Yeah, so this is art that I drew, actually. This was when I was designing Wayla as a character, and only one of the other players had apped a character for Sword World yet, and that was Stribla. That's Scott's character. So this was art of our characters that I drew, of us being buddies together, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the duo.
Yeah, they really look like they get along really well. They've only really interacted like twice in game, but they really seem like close friends, don't they?
Yeah, they look like they would make a great, like, anime duo.
There is a moment that I really like in our Sword World game where, because the way the tactics work in the game is very different. There's 3 different combat systems available in Sword World. There's one that's like a really vague JRPG sort of thing. There's one that's played on a line where you measure distances but don't care so much about maneuvering. And then there's one where you play on a grid, like a classical combat RPG. And so we kind of split the difference and play in the middle. And so enemies running past the front line to get to your back line is a thing that can happen if you do not outnumber the enemies by a certain amount. And so we encountered a big enough group that Rena, who is a very squishy character, would have been overrun by a bunch of goblins if someone didn't step up to the front line. And so Wayla stepped up onto the front line. And this scene of her standing alongside Stribla happened organically in game. And she's a caster. She got pummeled, but it was enough to save the gunner and win the game. So
Very nice, yeah. I'm getting the JRPG vibes with that, like Final Fantasy VI getting in a pincer attack.
listen, Final Fantasy, it's always been Sword World. I mean, like Final Fantasy 1 and 2 have Vancian magic with spell slots, but you see where it changes over into MP? That's Sword World's influence.
Nice, hell yeah. Last for the images, we have a little comic here.
This is a very good meme. There was a line at one point during Sword World where Wayla suggested going into town to get supplies to prepare for the journal. Neros finishes downing his wine, slams the cup on the table, looks her dead in the eyes, and says, "I have no money!" And just everybody at the table erupts in laughter. It was a really incredible moment. And so Scott adapted it to a very famous meme. And so we actually have a video version of this too, which I do not know where it is posted, but I can try to find it for you. Where we actually voiced these characters and we like delivered the lines and he edited it into a video.
Oh, that's cool. I can just hear it now. That's a funny scene.
Yeah. No, wait.
Hilarious. Well, one last thing is you have a music track that you would like to share, correct?
What a really cool transition, you know? That fire, that's just, it really, really sets me off. It's so good. I suppose I do. I sang on this track. I'm very embarrassed, but so there's a story behind this one, and this is Expasne Enduring, like main story stuff. one of our players, Scottzilla, is playing a little robot kobold. You can see him in the background of that first little animated GIF that you put up there, or GIF. You can pretend to have heard what you want to hear, or YIF. And so Key, the little robot kobold, I wrote him some cool backstory involving some people he didn't remember and involving his creation. And he got to explore some of that in game. But some of the breadcrumbs I left for the player were the lyrics to a barely remembered lullaby. And I wrote them out and I delivered them at the end of a game. And so one of our incredible viewers, a person by the name of Superplink, who is apparently absolutely cracked at writing music, wrote music to go with the words that I had written. And so I heard this song, I was overwhelmed with joy, and I felt the need to record it. So I recorded it, and then I used it to blindside my players a couple sessions later.
Beautiful. Let us listen together.
By lock and spring with pot makes 3, with bow and shield to set her free. A cage of steel, cold as can be. But if it's locked, then where's the key? So wind it up, let music play, and don't forget the words I say. The treasure stays all locked away, till heavy hands the spirit weigh. May we all live to see the day. Oh, it hits me so hard every time.
What? Oh, are you trying to escape? What? That was all a ruse.
No, I'm fine. I can't fly when my face is so wet anyway. It's too heavy.
Seriously though, that was adorable. I love that.
So there's so much story in it. There's story and world building. There's an allusion to the Pantheon. There's some discussion of Key's backstory that he didn't know. This was breadcrumbs in song form. And the truth of the matter is I can spoil a little bit of it because I never got to use this storyline. So Mal, you ever do like, you know, we did session 10 Reverie and I had a whole backstory session and it was really well controlled and really told the story I wanted it to tell. And then sometimes your players go, well, I don't want to go on these rails.
Most of the times I've been lucky that my players are, you know, I give them stuff that their characters want, so I haven't had too many times where they didn't follow the breadcrumbs, but IRL, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sometimes you write a plot and then you think your players are going to love it and they go, well, actually, I'd like to do my thing instead. And you go, all right, let's see where this goes. Let's play this one out. Let's see how the chips fall on that one. So the whole backstory I had planned, I'd still ostensibly happened, but when you do time travel bullshit in your tabletop RPG, you have to expect it's going to go off the rails a little bit. And boy, oh boy, did I not get to explore most of the things in that song.
Oh, damn.
But it's sad. It's meant to be. It's a sad memory. It is very much in keeping with the themes of Expanse Enduring. It is one thing that is two things. There's the concept in Japanese art of kintsugi. Kintsugi are you familiar with it?
That is a term I have not heard.
Kintsugi is kind of one of the themes of Expanse Enduring. So the idea that death is not an ending, but a transformation. The idea that your purpose can change, but your existence continues. And that's kind of in keeping with the theme of the world. The world blew up. The war between good and evil is over. Everybody lost. The world was destroyed. Life goes on. And so now the world is something new. So kintsugi, specifically, is to proceed with gold. And so the practice is, if like a bowl breaks, like a fine ceramic bowl or something, a kintsugi artist will repair it by using gold to fill in the cracks and turn it into something else, an art that is beautiful for the cracks rather than jank and broken because of the cracks. The cracks and the seals make it more beautiful. And that's kind of the vibe of that song and Key's whole backstory. Kintsugi is one of like the guiding principles of Expanse Enduring, the idea that something can persist beyond its destruction. So I think we see that in a lot of the character stories that come out.
Nice. Thanks for educating me. I did not know that term, but that is really cool.
Yeah, and if I got any part of that wrong, I apologize sincerely on behalf of all white people to the nation of Japan.
Now that I think about it, yeah, not anything major, but off the top of my head, I do remember populating a cave with a lot of cool stuff for the players to go through, and of course they missed it all.
Every time.
I did find a way to weave them back into the cave in the next episode, but, you know, at the time.
Yeah, no, I tend to think that DMing or GMing in general is like, it's best described as having a bucket of parts and rails and railroad ties and kind of building the tracks while the train is moving.
Yeah, good analogy. Yeah.
Thanks, I made it up. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we're almost done here, Hesper, but one final question. Any future plans for you in the TTRPG world?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So on Sundays at the moment, and I'm barring when this is going to be published and done editing, we're playing our Expasne Enduring games over on my channel at twitch.tv/HESPER'S Quest. And we're going to be playing our Sword World one-shot over there, The Wishing Well, run by $1.50 Slice. But once that's finished, we're going to be moving back to our main Expasne Enduring campaign on twitch.tv/OceanX. And that's, I guess, link in the description for that. But I'm planning on working some Sword World content into my main stream. I really like Sword World. I've discovered it. I'm really, really happy. I'm a Sword World girly now. D&D is dead to me. So I'm going to be running some Sword World stuff on my main channel moving forward. One of the goals is to kind of explore the world of Enum, where I stream from, with the help of a bunch of other creators who will help me write and help me design. And as a streamer, I always imagined TTRPG content being more of my main content, and it kind of didn't shake out that way. But so creating a sort of collaborative world in this West Marches style of gameplay, or round robin, multiple GMs, multiple authors, I think is really cool. I like the sense of existing inside of a world created by the community. So that's sort of the plan. Look forward to it.
Hell yeah, I fully support and endorse this. I tried to move to mostly TTRPG content, either these interviews or actual plays or just talking about systems as well, so support, endorse.
Hell yeah, we're gonna make so much content, buddy.
Hell yeah. Well, before I release thy from my dungeon, any parting words, Hesper?
Verily thou might find me upon twitch.tv/HESPER'S Quest, where I alight in the form of a delightful pixie upon thine eyes, and sing dulcet tones to thine ears of things like fuck and god damn it and hope with this wall here. So, look forward to that too.
Beautiful. I do look forward to it. Thank you again, Hesper, for joining me down here. You have been a lovely guest, and it has been a pleasure to have you.
Oh, this has been a joy. Now, to be clear, there's no iron anywhere in this dungeon, right? Because I would get, real sick. Like, us Fae have an allergy, pops up, an hour later after exposure.
Oh, don't worry. I have the same iron vulnerability myself.
Wait, really? Oh, I was joking. Damn. Okay, cool. Now I know how to defeat Malanim. Taking notes.
Damn it, I shouldn't have said anything. You're never getting out of here alive now, Hesper.
You'll have to catch me first, Gabo. Oh, you got a fly speed? I bet you don't.
Wait, no.
Thank you again for joining me, Hesper. You can find the links to Hesper's socials and more in the description below. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I really appreciate it.